Aikwi, Nagnamalita, and this is my channel, The Midnight Librarian, and today I will be talking about my second book haul of 2024. It's spring, so I'm going to be wearing this jean jacket a lot, so my apologies if my thumbnails are kind of filled with this particular jean jacket. Otherwise, yes, it's my second book haul of 2024. I didn't expect to have another book haul this soon after my first one. I don't want to talk about it. In fact, I do want to talk about it because I do want to talk about the books that I have recently received and show you all and show it off and how excited I am to have these books in my possession. Okay, let's go ahead and just jump right in. I do have a decent-ish stack, 14 books for you today. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. The first couple, I think most of these are from bookshop.org. If I don't say otherwise, they're from bookshop.org. I will have my affiliate link down in the description down below if you want to go check them out. I highly suggest it. I really enjoy them. The first is the prequel to Legends and Lattes, and that is Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldree. As I said, this is a prequel to Legends and Lattes. We kind of follow our main character, Viv, who is also the main character in Legends and Lattes, before she starts her cafe business. I don't really want to know because I just kind of want to go into this not knowing anything. So I haven't heard the best things in terms of people have enjoyed Legends and Lattes a bit better than this one. It was a bit more cozy. Legends and Lattes was a bit more cozy, but I'm still very much excited about this. It still seems really fun. So there's that. Next I have is one that I had pre-ordered. It was a anticipated release for 2024, and I think it came out in February, but that is Fathom Folk by Eliza Chan. This is a gorgeous cover. I was kind of hoping for a hardback, but this is fine too. It's a decent flop of a paperback. This is a Southeast Asian influenced fantasy that deals in particular with water mythology, from what I understand. Welcome to Tian Kauai, shining pearl of human civilization and a safe haven for those fleeing civil unrest. Or at least that's how it first appears. But in this semi-flooded city, humans are quite literally on top, peering down from shining towers and aerial walkways on the Fathom Folk, sirens, sea witches, kelpies, and kappas who live in the polluted waters below. We are following half-siren Mira, promoted to captain of the border guard, means an opportunity to help her downtrodden people, but as if earning the trust and respect of her human colleagues wasn't hard enough, everything Mira has worked toward is put in jeopardy when Nami, a know-it-all water dragon and Fathom Folk princess, is exiled to the city under Mira's watch. So again, that's all I know. That's all I really want to know. This sounds like a really fun summer read, so I was hoping for that. The next two books were also bookshop.org, but I have already read them and I have reviewed them in some form or another. The first is Slow Noodles by Kanta Nguyen, Kanta Nguyen, which is a Cambodian memoir of love, loss, and family recipes. I really enjoyed this one. This was very hard-hitting. It was basically how Cambodia was affected by the Vietnam War, which, I mean, I didn't learn much about the Vietnam War to begin with, but like to realize that that ripple effect of how it affected other countries surrounding Vietnam, very hard hitting. I really enjoyed the noodle portions of this and the focus on food. It was very impactful and I needed a physical copy. So, and next, I know I have a full video of my review up, so if you want to go check it out, but that is The Warm Hands of Ghosts by Catherine Arden. Both of these two, Slow Noodles and The Warm Hands of Ghosts, were anticipated releases for this year, and I enjoyed them both. One I rated like a 4-star, but you can check out my review if you want to check out, if you want to hear more of my thoughts, but ultimately this is it's a historical fiction, somewhat fantasy. It's like paranormal fantasy of sorts. We are following Laura Ivan, who is a revered field nurse who ends up getting sent back to Halifax after getting injured during World War I, or the Great War. But her brother is still fighting in that war. But when she gets a crate full of his things and proclamation that he is gone, she doesn't believe anything because no one's giving her a straight answer. The materials they sent back don't make any sense, so she volunteers at a volunteer hospital in France or Belgium, I believe, to get back near the front lines to figure out where her brother went. There are rumors of haunted trenches and a fiddler that can take soldiers' pains away. So yeah, it was really another one that was really impactful. I really enjoyed it. Next is another one that was an anticipated release, and I actually had it on TBR and just didn't get it in time to read it, but that is A Botanical Daughter by Noah Medlock. This one, we are following two men who live together, Simon and Gregor, who are an unusual pair of gentlemen hidden away from the disapproval title of Victorian London. They are free to follow their own interests without interference. For Simon, this means working his taxidermical art. Gregor's business is exotic plants, lucrative but harmless enough, until his latest acquisition, a strange fungus which shows signs of intellect beyond any plant he has seen, inspires him to attempt a masterwork, true intelligent life from plant matter. From my understanding, it's like Frankenstein but out of plants. So another one I kind of bought on a whim, but it was another it wasn't one that I had realized. It was put on my radar from Jan Agathon. I don't remember what her thoughts were on it, but I know she had received multiple copies. I didn't get my copy from her, but I know that my interest was piqued because of her. But that is the Invocations by Crystal Sutherland. I just read A House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland, and I'm interested in her writing. This is a very intense looking cover. I love this baby pink. But otherwise, we are following Zara Jones, who believes in magic because the alternative is too painful. When her murdered sister is gone forever, there's nothing she can do about it. Rather than grieving and moving on, Zara decides she will do whatever it takes to claw her sister back from the grave, even trading in the occult. Jude Wolfe may be the daughter of Billionaire, but she is also undeniably cursed. After a deal with a demon went horribly wrong, her soul has been slowly turning necrotic. It's a miserable existence, marred by pain, sickness, and monstrous things that taunt her in the night. I don't really want to know too much about this, but from my understanding, witches and possibly queer love. So yeah. Next, I got two graphic novels, one of which I have already read, and I'm really kind of curious about this whole series, but that is Earth Divers by Stephen Graham Jones. I originally found this at work. It was a new title we had got into our library, and I immediately checked it out because thankfully I'm one of the second people that sees our new shipments out. One of the first people outside of acquisitions, let's just say that. So, and I really enjoyed this. This is Stephen Graham Jones, who is a hit or miss author for me, really. I really enjoyed The Only Good Indians, not so much My Heart is a Chainsaw. This one, we are following a group of Indigenous folks. This is in a dystopian future where the bad waters have risen, the good waters have all but disappeared. There are elements of destruction. They don't know what whales are because they no longer exist. But ultimately, this Indigenous group is in the Navajo Nation trying to find a particular location that has access to as like a time portal. And so one of them jump into it with the mission to kill Columbus from coming to America, thinking that's going to resolve the dystopian that they're in. And we kind of see that others end up jumping into the time portal as well. And so the series continues. Because it's Stephen Graham Jones, who has always leaned into horror, from my understanding, it is pretty graphic, so I look up content warnings first. So I have already read this and I enjoyed it. I want to know more about the series. And then I have the second one, which is Earth Diver is Ice Age, which I'm really curious about. I'm not as intrigued with this cover as I am with this. This one is a dynamic cover, like full kudos. This one, it's still interesting, but not as dynamic in my opinion. But still very curious about it. I don't want to really read the synopsis because I just kind of want to go into it only knowing what I know from this first volume, and then the third volume comes out at the end of the year, which I'm excited for. So this next book I actually got from a little free library in my local area. Stop by them every now and then to get rid of some books that I can't sell on Pango, or I think are too bit damaged to try to sell at a local bookstore. So, but this one was in one of them, and that is Once There Were Wolves by Charlotte McConaughey. Yep, that's what it looks like. Another one that I think was put on my radar due to Jan. Oh hey, there's a bookmark in here. Inti Flynn arrives in Scotland with her twin sister Aggie to lead a team of biologists tasked with returning 14 grey wolves into the remote Highlands. She hopes to heal not only the dying landscape, but Aggie too, unmade by the terrible secrets that drove the sisters out of Alaska. So that's all I know. That's all I really want to know. So my apologies for the lack of synopses, but I really just don't want to know much of anything going into these other than that, like, I know I'm interested in them. So another one that I had on my TBR, it was an anticipated release, but it got here later than I had anticipated, and therefore I didn't get to it. I'm also really kind of upset because the spine is askew, leaning forward a bit, but that is Butter by Asako Yazuki, a novel of food and murder. From my understanding, this really famous cook is now in a prison in Japan, and she, I guess, murdered, I think she's a serial killer, like she murdered a bunch of people, but she's refused to talk to anybody from the press, like straight up refused to answer any questions, until this one particular woman manages to weasel her way in there by asking her about a recipe. And so it's as much cooking classes as it is about investigative journaling. So I'm very curious about it. I absolutely love this bright yellow cover, and particularly the dynamic of this whole cover is just, I really enjoy it. So another anticipated release that's also on my 24 of 2024 is Indian Burial Ground by Nick Medina. I pre-ordered this to support Nick Medina. I do hope to read this at some point, but I do hope to read his debut book first, which is Girls of the Lost Nation. But I am intrigued with this one. This one, I believe we are following a young woman who is ready to leave her reservation. I believe they're in Louisiana, but when her fiance ends up dying by suicide, it doesn't make sense to her because he wouldn't. So there seems to be something sinister going on the reservation. So I'm just excited about this one. So another one possibly for summer. I am really excited for Summerween. So maybe that's one I could do. Okay, if you can't tell, there's a theme here. This is another one that was on one of my TBRs for 2024. And it just didn't get here in time. So I need to remember that when it comes to new releases, particularly ones that I pre-order that are coming like mid-month or later, is that it most likely won't get to me in time before the month ends, mostly because I'm kind of out in the boonies of California. And so it takes a little bit. But this one is Murder Road by Simone St. James. This is the Illumicrate Evernight book box edition, which is really kind of fun. I think I kind of like this more sinister, like I feel like the original cover is a bit more sinister looking. This one's not bad. I still enjoy it. It's different. Sprayed edges are fun. The cover is fun, and then what I thought was even more fun outside of the inner cover is the map on the hardcover. So it's pretty exciting. I'm hoping I like it. I've heard mixed things, but thankfully haven't spoiled anything for myself as of yet. But like I said, the original cover seems a bit more sinister to me. This one very much seems like Scooby-Doo-esque. So I think my whole thing is that I'm hoping that it matches. I don't know. It matches the tonality of the story itself, but I don't know yet because I haven't read it yet. But I'm excited to get into this. So it was just exciting. It was my first ever night box, so I'm really excited. So what is this one about? This one, I believe we are following a couple who are taking a road trip for their honeymoon and end up on this road where they find a woman, and they pick up this woman, and because they believe she's a hitchhiker, only to realize that she's bleeding a lot. And so they take her to the hospital where she dies. Multiple people have died on this road, and the police get involved, and they think that it is this couple that is killing these people, and they have to convince them otherwise. And then the final two I actually got from a local bookstore. I literally got them today with the anticipation of doing this book haul, but also because I also wanted them. I looked around, I kind of browsed around, I had some time to kill, so I got a couple of new nonfictions. The first is The Secret History of Bigfoot by John O'Connor. Field notes on a North American monster. I've seen this floating around, but I actually haven't really read it. Read the synopsis. It seemed just interesting. Real or not, why do we want to believe? Bigfoot is an instantly recognizable figure. Through the decades, this elusive primate has been featured in movies and books and on coffee mugs, beer koozies, car polish, and CBD oil. Which begs the question, what is it about Bigfoot that's caught hold of our imaginations? Journalist and self-diagnosed skeptic John O'Connor is fascinated by Sasquatch. Curious to learn more, he embarks on a quest through the North American wilds in search of Bigfoot, its myth and meaning. Alongside an eccentric cast of characters, he explores the zany and secretive world of cryptozoology, tracking Bigfoot through the ancient folklore to Harry and the Hendersons, while examining the forces behind our ever-winding belief in the supernatural. As O'Connor treks through the shrouded forests of the Pacific Northwest, listens to first-hand accounts, and attends Bigfoot conventions, he's left wondering what happens when the lines between myth and reality blur. So I'm really curious about this, mostly because we do have a lot of Bigfoot lore here in the local area, particularly when it comes to one of the local tribes who believe that actually made a pact with Bigfoot. Bigfoot as a people would steal the women from the local tribal village, but when white settlers started to come in, Bigfoot wanted to hide, and so the local tribe told Bigfoot that if they stopped stealing the women, that the tribe would keep them hidden. So I'm really curious about what John O'Connor finds, and to see what other areas believe in. So, and then the last one was another anticipated release of 2024. I think this one was also published in 2024 as well. I think I mentioned it in one of my anticipated releases. I think it's one that I forgot that I had to insert in later. But this one is also an anticipated release, and it's by Amy Tan, and that is The Backyard Chronicles. And I didn't know that there were going to be birds in here that were also illustrated by Amy Tan. So I want to say like an amateur birder. I don't know if that's a thing. But basically I love like listening for birds and being able to name them or identify them based off their songs. I'm not that great at it yet, but I have gotten an app or two to help me identify them, and as well as like we're just overall curious and interested. My apologies if you can now hear my cat. But I'm ultimately just really interested in what Amy Tan has to say, because I believe this is her observations from when she just had too much social media, or like was on the internet for a bit and ended up seeing like just how cruel people can be, and so she like quit social media for a while and just spent her time observing the birds in her backyard. So that's what I'm kind of excited for, particularly when it comes to her illustrations, because like I love it, like to get a sneak peek in some of the sketches or sketchbooks of other people. So I think it'll be fun. So yeah, I don't know if I can necessarily lift up this pile. Yes? Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay. Nope. So those are the books that I got for this recent book haul. If you've read any of these, or if these are some of the ones that you're excited for, please let me know. And let me know your thoughts, please. No spoilers. Otherwise, let's go ahead and put your favorite bird emoji in the comments down below. If you don't feel like answering any of the questions, you don't have the spoons, perfectly fine. Otherwise, I hope that you are in the mental mindset to enjoy your reading. Please be sure to like this video, subscribe if you have yet to do so, and I will see you in another video very soon. Chew.